everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I was getting ready, sitting here in my house coat, and I'm too lazy to change out of it. And I thought, let's test out some new items. So I have bought some new Essence stuff that I found at the drugstore. I have 3 palettes that I picked up. So the first palette we have is the Essence Fire Eyeshadow Palette. This also came in like a water, an earth, wind to fire, I don't know. I picked up the fire one. So we're going to be creating some sort of eyeshadow look with that, testing that out. I also picked up the Sun Matte Bronzing Powder Palette, which looks like this. And I picked up the Essence Pure Nude Sunlighter Palette, which is a highlighting palette, and I can use it as blush as well. So I'm going to be testing these 3 palettes out and letting you know my opinions. So if you're interested in seeing these new Essence palettes in action, please keep watching. Don't mind my voice. I'm sick and I'm slowly getting my groove back. Okay, so the first product we're testing is the Sun Club Matte Bronzing Powder Palette. So first of all, I really like this palette because the color selection is really good. You get big pans and you also get a mirror. So I'm going to go in with this. I think this shade's a little too light for me over here, so we're going to start off with this shade in the corner. So as I dip my brush in, the shades are very, very powdery. Like very. I think if you are very fair, this palette is not going to work for you because the lightest shade is just this guy here, and this one that I'm using now is pretty, it's pretty tanned, so I can't see this working for somebody that's super pale. Now for my nose contour, I'm going to go in with the lighter shade mixed with the shade we just used. So here on the back of my hand, we have the lightest shade, which you can barely see. Then we go into this next shade, which is what I have on my face. Then we go more into this shade here, which is a little bit more warm, and then we go into the deep shade. To be honest with you, they are powdery, and when you rub your finger in them and then blend them out, they are a little bit splotchy as well. I wouldn't say that they're super smooth, but it's Essence for the price. It's not too bad if you're looking for like a little bronzing palette. It's not terrible. Definitely gives your face some warmth, but it's not my favorite, obviously. I'm going to take a little bit of this dark shade, the second darkest shade. I could regret this. To try to give my skin a little bit more of a chiseled contour. Will I be replacing my Hoola for this palette? No. Is it okay? It's okay. So next we have the Sunlighter Reload Palette. Let's test out these highlighters. So it says they're smooth. Not gonna lie, Essence does make some really nice cheap highlighters. So far this is definitely swatching better than the bronzing palette. Okay, so first I'm going to pick up this peachy kind of shade. I'm going to use it as my blush. Hopefully I don't regret this. If you have a deeper skin tone, I could see this being a really nice highlight shade on you. If you're more my skin tone, you could use it as a blush with a luminescence. If you have a lot of texture in your skin, obviously you're not going to want to use a blush like this because it's going to show a lot of your texture. But as a blush for me, it's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. For my highlight, I'm going to mix this shade here, which is like the really glittery kind of sparkly shade, with this guy here. Very powdery. These are very powdery. I'm really liking this combination. This is really pretty. Again, if you have any texture on your face, you're going to probably want to pass on these just because it kind of has that glittery highlight effect. It's not like, there's definitely glitter in the highlighter, is what I'm trying to say. But I do like this palette more than I like the bronzing palette. Whoa. Okay, so first up, taking this NYX crease brush, we're going to go in with the matte brown shade. Really appreciate them having a matte brown shade, liking that. Again, powdery. When you tap off, lots of powder. This shade is definitely pigmented. It looks more orange though than it is brown. They do have a matte orange shade in the palette, which would be even oranger than this. Blending out nicely though. So next I'm going to pick up this yellow shade here. Let's give that a go. I'm going to take it just above the brown shade just to kind of blend the two. This shade really doesn't do anything. And when you tap it off your brush, the pigment just disappears. So, yeah, doesn't really do anything. Even when you swatch it, it disappears. Yeah, no, like, no. Not impressed with the yellow at all. I'm actually going to take a little bit of this red shade as well. We'll try that guy out. Hopefully this one is a little bit more promising. Oh, this is definitely more pigmented than the yellow. Underneath my lash line, I'm going to try out this orange kind of shade here. So we're going to go in. I'm going to go with this little Quo definer brush kind of thing. Pretty pigmented. Not bad. Also taking the same red kind of coral shade on the same brush. And I'm going to run it in the socket of my eye. I'm going to go back in with our fluffy crease brush, adding a little bit more of that matte brown shade. Okay, so on the lower lid on the outside of my eye, I'm going to take this shade here in the corner, which looks like a brown with a little bit of kind of like a shimmer. The fallout is real. I'm actually going to take my finger, try that, and I'm going to try to push it on the eye. Finger definitely works better. I just wish my fingers were a little bit smaller. It's actually a really pretty shade, this brown. Taking some of that shade as well on our little Quo blending brush and just running it on the very outside underneath the lash line. So for my inner corner, I'm going to go in with the lightest shade in the palette. For the very center of my eye, I'm actually going to dip back into this highlighting palette, going in with this shade here. And I'm just pressing it right in the center of my eye. I'm also going to take that same highlighter and add it to the inner corner of my eye as well. Next, I'm going in with my Lise Watier. This is the eyeliner in Blackest Black. So for my waterline, I'm going to go in with the Marc Pink and Me liner. I think a light shade will really kind of open the eye and brighten it up a bit more. So we're going to go in with that. Okay, so next I'm going to apply some mascara. This is one of my favorite mascaras ever. It's the Essence Lash Princess Waterproof. It's so good. But it definitely is super waterproof, so you do need a good makeup remover to remove it. Okay, so off camera, my camera died and it had to cool. So while it was cooling down, I applied these Sali lashes. These are in the style Daring. They're just kind of like a nice wispy lash. I just applied it over top of the eyeliner and my Essence mascara. You don't need to apply fake eyelashes. That mascara gives you big eyelashes, but I was just feeling a little dramatic, you know? So I applied them. Alright, so next I'm taking this NYX Lip Liner. This is in the shade Soft Spoken. So I'm going to go in with that and just kind of quickly outline my lips. And then for my lipstick, I have this Bourjois number 21 Rouge Velvet lipstick. This is a really nice shade. It matches the eyes perfectly. It has red and orange kind of mixed together. I also really like these lipsticks because they're long wearing, but they're still creamy. And then I'm just taking some of that metallic orangey highlighter, the one I use for blush, on my finger. And I'm just pressing it in the center of my lip to kind of set the lipstick, but it also gives it a really nice shine. Okay, so this is my finished look. I actually really like the finished look, but there are definitely some hits and some misses with these palettes. So the first palette that we did apply was the bronzing palette. They're okay. They're kind of powdery and they're not super smooth. So do I highly love this palette? Not really. I definitely have a lot more bronzers in my collection that I would be using before I reached for this one. If you're starting off in makeup and you don't really have a lot of bronzers and you kind of want to add to your collection, it definitely does the trick. It bronzed up my skin, but I do find it's a little bit more of a warm bronzer. It's not cool toned and it can be a little bit patchy and they're definitely very powdery. So out of all three things that I tried today, this would be my least favorite and I wouldn't wouldn't repurchase this, just to be honest with you. I just wouldn't. We go into the highlighting palette. I actually don't mind this palette. I think it's good, especially again, like I said, if you're just starting off in makeup, you want some highlighting shades. You get 4 really beautiful highlighting shades in this palette. Also love how they include the mirror. And as you can see, my skin just looks really, really dewy. It looks wet and it's super highlighted. So this definitely does work, but it is glittery. There is glitter. The downfall with a glittery kind of highlight would be that if you have any sort of texture into your skin, it will show. I could see if you're a teenager and you have like really beautiful, you know, porcelain skin, you'll really like this. I think it's pretty. If you have a deeper skin tone as well, this would work for you because these shades here, they'll work for somebody with a little bit more of a deeper skin tone. So it's great that it's just not a palette just for somebody with porcelain skin. Also, they're really beautiful as an eyeshadow. I can see me reaching more for this as more of an eyeshadow topper, add a little bit of glam. I do think it's pretty and I think it's worth the money if you're just looking for something fun. I would suggest this. Then we go into the eyeshadow. Now, I actually don't mind the eyeshadow. Is it the best eyeshadow I've ever used? No, definitely not. But is it good? It's decent. For the price, it's not bad. We open up this palette. There's no mirror, kind of shitty, but what are you gonna do? I like how they didn't include 4 matte shades. Unfortunately, the yellow shade is just a flop. It doesn't even do anything. Like, yeah, when you put your finger in it like that, it's great, but then when you kind of blend it out, it disappears. So out of the whole palette of all the shades that I tried, the yellow sucked. But the rest of the shades were not bad. They actually blended out really nicely. And yes, they were powdery when you dip the brush in, but the way that they apply onto the eye and the way that they blend out, I thought it was really pretty. And I did create a nice eye look with it. Another downfall to the palette though, which I do find with Essence eyeshadows, any of the shimmery kind of eyeshadows that I've tried from Essence, you have to use your finger to apply it. So I did use my finger to go with the dark shade and then the lighter shade, which worked out great. Do I love applying eyeshadow with my fingers? Not really. But for these ones you do, or you need to add some sort of fixing setting kind of spray to them to really make them adhere to the lid. But when you use your fingers, they go on really nicely. Is this a palette that I'm going to reach for all the time? No. Is it okay? Yes. So if you're just kind of trying to build your collection, maybe you need some shades that are more in the red tone and the orange tone, you might want to check it out. But it was okay. You know, it's not terrible. I would say, yeah, I'd like to pick this up. You could definitely create a great eye look with it. But not my favorite again, but it's okay, you know, it's all right, it's okay. Okay, so this is the end of my video. I really hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, as always, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new videos that I'm gonna be putting out. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.